Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So Billy Joe Saunders has broke his media silence by talking to TalkSport in regards to the Canelo Alvarez fight and more. He was asked what he's been doing since the loss, and Saunders began by saying, "I'm just coming down from it all, having a good long think and enjoying the kids' time really. I went into surgery, I had a broken eye socket. It was broken in 3 places. I've got some plates, I'm like the Terminator now, they've got me full of metal. As soon as I got home, I just took time out for my family and enjoyed the time off without any boxing. It's been nice." So yeah, basically Billy Joe Saunders reiterating the narrative that he did indeed have his eye socket broken. Again, I'm not still fully convinced by that. At the end of the day, we've not had any proof whatsoever. And, most recently, a couple of weeks ago, Billy Joe Saunders filmed himself, in his car, driving, with sunglasses on, but there was no visible sign of any surgery. Maybe you can have it done internally, like through your mouth, through your nose. I've got no idea. I'm not a doctor. But, a lot of people were asking questions after they saw that footage. So yeah, I'm not really convinced by the claim that he did indeed have his eye socket broken. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, who knows. He went on to say, when I got hit with a shot and I remember it very, very clearly. I thought, oh, that's a good shot. And I started bouncing about, but my eye had dropped down. I could see like 2 or 3 all of a time, and I realised after about 30 seconds it wasn't my legs, it was my eye. It was a bad injury, an injury I never thought I would get, but you never know what's going to happen in boxing. He also addressed the quit claims, and he said the following: "As a fighter, I wanted to go on. I sat down, I could hear Ben Davison telling me in the corner it was over before I even sat down. I was shaking my head to say no way. It was the right stoppage, I can't argue. I know my best interests were at hand. Obviously it's gutting and nobody wants to lose. It is gut-wrenching, but this is sport and it's boxing. You can only ever say that the better man won on the night. That's it. I would have loved to have seen how the next 4 or 5 rounds would have been because I put so much heart and effort into it. That's sport. You are always going to have people who come in with their 2 pence worth, but my team who's in that corner know the conversation. I was going to go out for the 9th round orthodox, and when people say he quit, you've got to look at the situation. My team are there to do a job. They are there to look after my best interests. I'm there to go all night. When we step in the ring, that's our lives, and I'm willing to put down the life. But never in my life would I ever say, nah, I'm finished, I'm done. I boxed 1 minute and 20 seconds with a broken eye socket, a broken cheekbone in 3 places. 1 minute and 20 seconds is alright fighting the average man, but when you're fighting the best man on the planet, I could have easily opted out, but I never. That was the cornerman's decision. It is what it is. I can't argue with that." So that's Billy Joe Saunders' say on the quit allegation. Again, I'm not convinced by the injury, and I'm not convinced by the story Team Saunders has concocted. But again, it is what it is. I've made my feelings clear on that particular situation. Billy Joe went on to talk about his future, and he said, "At the end of the day, I'm 31 years old. If I don't ever want to work again and want to sit back and want to chill, I can do that. And so it should be. I've put a lot of time into boxing and I've paid my dues. The sport's been very, very good to me. I'm 31, I've not taken no punishment. I haven't been battered from pillar to post, brain dead, and can't put a sentence together. So I need to sit back and look at my options. Because the options have to weigh up. The thought of me just coming back and fighting for world ratings or something like that, belts don't feed the kids. Everything would have to stack up and be the right fight. Because coming down from fights like that, it's very hard. Where do you go from there? I'll have a chat with my dad because he'll have a big say in it. To be fair, it will be more or less down to my dad in the conversation more than me if I'm honest. It's one of them where it's 50-50, whether I think I'll have one more or a couple of more fights, but they've got to be the right sort of fights. If he says, leave it son, don't go back for more, then that's probably what I'll do." So those are the words of Billy Joe Saunders. So in regards to what he was saying about whether he quit or not, the injury, etc., I've not really got anything to add to that situation. All I know is the information that's come out and the stories that have come out in relation to those claims have been extremely convoluted. The stories from Ben Davison, Mark Tibbs don't exactly match up. Then on top of that, you have the media blackout of content being taken down in relation to the aftermath of that fight. It lends me to believe that they're not telling the truth, but it is what it is. And as for Billy Joe Saunders saying that he wants to retire, I'll be completely honest, at this stage, and I felt like this for a long time, in fact I made a video about this a long time ago, I don't really particularly care all that much if Billy Joe Saunders retires. When he turned pro, I was relatively excited about his talents. I thought he could achieve something quite big in boxing. Don't get me wrong, he's a two-weight world champion, he's made his money, he certainly achieved, but I thought quite frankly he should have done a lot more with his talents, with his potential, and year on year it's become increasingly frustrating following the career of Billy Joe Saunders, pulling out of various fights, not giving us undisputed at 160 against Gennady Golovkin, not taking certain fights. And on top of that, the outside the ring antics. When you look at Billy Joe Saunders' career as a whole, it's been filled with more disappointment than it has excitement, at least from my perspective. Yes, I liked the John Ryder fight, the Eubank Jr. fight, Lemieux, Andy Lee. He's got some decent wins, but for a guy who was an Olympian who's been pro now for 12 years, I don't think he's really achieved what he should have. And if he were to retire, I don't particularly care, and to be honest, I would welcome it at this stage. I mean, even if he does come back, who's he going to fight? Maybe he could have a domestic showdown with John Ryder in a rematch, maybe a Callum Smith fight. Yeah, those fights would generate some interest, but for whatever reason, I'm not particularly bothered. At the end of the day, he's half-assed his career for 12 years, so what's there to be excited about coming back? It took him 12 years to get to the top of a mountain, and he was convincingly beat on the night. So, yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I think Billy Joe Saunders would be best to retire. If your motivation's gone and you're half-assing the sport, which Billy's done for a long time, it's only going to lend to you getting hurt. He's got enough money to retire. I think the interest in his career is now gone. Now he's lost that belt. Now he's lost that unbeaten record. What does he really bring to the table, honestly? And again, I wouldn't say this with every single fighter who took their first loss, but in the case of Billy Joe Saunders, when you take his career as a whole, I mean, what's there to really look forward to if he does come back? I'm not really interested, quite frankly. But yeah, maybe you guys think I'm being harsh, just the way I feel about this situation. But anyway, share your thoughts below. Would you be interested in a Billy Joe Saunders comeback, or like me, would you rather him retire at this stage? Share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Delboy. Smash the like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Peace.